Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Makar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace, salutations, and blessings be unto the hopeful elect, pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe, in the sincere hopes of being delivered in these last days. This is the brother Yakanan from the GMS England branch. Now I just came across this video, this report. This was dated 17th of November 2025, and as you can see, it's entitled Grave Warnings Issued After AI Carries Out First Large-Scale Cyber Attack. Okay? Now, this is pretty heavy, and as we've been warning you, this AI, is a major, piece of the puzzle concerning, the MOTB system. And they've managed to advance in their New World Order agenda quite substantially via way of AI and via way of the deception that is able to be pulled off using AI, okay? And now it's to the point where they can do a major scale cyber attack, all right, which is what this news piece is about. And they can simply, just blame it on AI. And you're going to hear it, they're going to go into how the possibilities of your bank account being wiped out, the possibilities of, 401ks disappearing. Okay, these are all realities concerning, this AI, okay? And how they're telling you that, it has a mind of its own, and it's basically uncontrollable, okay? But as we know, the wicked elites of Esau Edom are going to use this in order to bring about, help manifest, this New World Order system, help manifest the complete, collapse of the economic society, okay? And make everything digital, and then funnel everything through the MOTB system, which is going to be, the main component of that system is going to be a requirement of everyone receiving a micro CHIP within them, okay? So they can operate on the grid, so they can be a part of society. And that's where this is all heading, to a digital system, a digital currency, and governance, of AI, technocracy, okay? Now, without further delay, let me play this video.
A different subject, a terrible first for the world this week. A Chinese-backed AI tool hacked about 30 places, including some financial institutions, without help from humans. So what is to stop these AI tools from wiping out the 401ks or the bank accounts of everybody watching?
Well, I think it's important to know that China used Anthropic.
Right, so Chinese hackers used Anthropic chatbot in cyber attack, weaponizing AI, okay? So again, they're ready to bring about this New World Order system, okay? Everything is in place for a sudden collapse, for a sudden event, taking place in society that's going to change everything in the world, okay? You can literally wake up in the morning and everything is going to be changed. Everything is going to be locked down, okay? Your bank account could be empty, and you could be required, if you want to, enter into your your funds, that you may or may not have. You could be required, to report to your nearest, government building to prove who you are and to receive, the micro CHIP in order to validate and show that you can be trusted. Okay, that's why we warn you about, false flag attacks. Okay, that's why we warn you about all of these things that the wicked elites of Esau Edom could and more than likely will potentially do in order to bring about fear and to bring about, this system. Okay, so we're witnessing it right now. All right, they're pushing it, and they're ready for this to actually take place.
Which is a U.S.-based tool. The only reason we know about this is because it's U.S.-based, and Anthropic disclosed the fact that its Claude model, its large language model, had been hacked and used for these nefarious purposes. Luckily, we do know about it. Anthropic is doing a number of things to address this, to stop it. I met this week with David Sachs, our AI czar in the White House. I met with a number of AI officials, the CEOs of AI companies in Silicon Valley this past week. This is something where we must lead. We must stay on the cutting edge of innovation. And from a regulatory standpoint, I want to make certain that in Congress, we're not doing anything to stop the ability of these cutting edge companies from operating here in America, putting us in a position to be way ahead of China, so this type of thing doesn't happen and we can stay ahead of the competition here.
About 2 years ago, we tried to get the Biden White House talking about these threats from AI, and everybody in the room literally laughed. Listen to this.
There's an expert from the Machine Intelligence Research Institute who says that if there is not an indefinite pause on AI development, this is a quote, literally everyone on Earth will die. Would you agree that does not sound good?
Your delivery, Peter, is quite something.
It sounds crazy, but is it?
All I can say is that there's a comprehensive process in place.
How about now?
So as you heard, he said, if you don't get control over this AI, ultimately everyone on Earth, could die. So they're showing you, the potential chaos and the potential, destruction that this technology, this left-hand side technology can manifest, upon the Earth. Okay, and again, Esau, Edom, beginning with the elites, they're gonna utilize this technology, in order to bring about their evil work. Okay, like I said, this is a major part of the, MOTB system. All right, the B system is AI, artificial intelligence. All right, now right quick, let's get the book of Revelation, chapter 12. And verse 12, and it reads, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time." Okay, so they're gonna come down. They, I'm talking about the wicked elites of Esau Edom. They're gonna come down with great wrath, because they know that they have but a little time to rule in their kingdom. Okay, they know Yahushua is coming back. They know something major is about to take place upon the earth. So they're trying their utmost best to prepare for the coming of our Lord. Okay, and that's why we're seeing a quickening, concerning them trying to get this MOTB system in full, effect upon the earth. Okay, there's a reason why everything is moving so fast. There's a reason why, since AI came out, that technology has just been able to excel. Well, in our eyes, that technology has been able to excel and be perfected, in a short space of time. But really, that's technology that they've always had, that they've had for a very long time. Because remember, by the time we get to experience and see particular things that they put out there, just know that they've had it in the works and in development, for many decades. Okay, and that goes for, many different examples of technology, from, mobile phones, computers, so on and so forth. Okay, we're late when it comes to the things that's available to us. All right, they have things that they have, for decades, and then they decide in a particular time, okay, it's time for us to, release this to the public. That's how things go. So it's no different, with this AI. This is something that's been around, you could say, for a substantial amount of time, but now it's been able to be, put out there so people can download it on apps, make their own AI videos, so on and so forth. So again, for the devil, it's come down onto you having great wrath, because you know if they have but a short time. So we're going to experience that great wrath. Okay? You're gonna wake up one day and your bank account is going to be empty. You're going to wake up one day and your 401k, is going to be gone. Okay? You're going to wake up one day and you're going to switch on, the TV, you see on the news, breaking news, there's been a collapse. Okay? These things are actually going to happen, and they can happen at any moment. Okay? And that's why we got to be aware of the time that we are living in. All right? Now from here, let's get Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15. All right? Because these are the times that we're currently living in. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15 says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." Okay? And in the NLT, as you can see here, it says, "Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days." Okay? So we're living in a very evil time. Okay? A bad time. A time where all hell and chaos is about to break loose upon the earth. And the only way that you're going to be able to remain stable in that day is if you have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay, that's why it says in Isaiah 33 and verse 6, "Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and the strength of your salvation." Okay, that's the only way you're going to be able to bear these evil times that's about to be manifested upon the earth. Okay, it's through this wisdom, through this truth. Anyone without it, is going to bug out. Anyone void of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is going to bug out in these last days and succumb and bow down, to the beast system, and completely, cast away, their integrity. Okay? But the elect, as the scriptures say, the elect are going to have victory over the beast, over his image, and over the mark, okay, which is the micro C-hip, the implantable device, as pursuing to Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. Okay, now let's go back to this video.
How about now, Senator Haggerty? Is this funny?
I think what we're seeing is there really are serious threats. And the biggest threat of all, Peter, is if we step back and allow China to lead here, if we allow our adversaries to lead. Look, we understand what China's motives are. They floated a spy balloon over our country. They steal intellectual property on a regular basis. We need to make certain that leadership here in this field remains in America, that leadership in America is what everyone in the world is using, not Chinese models, but American models. Again, this is a critical national security issue. I think, as you said, we've seen it manifest.
And Babylon the Great, which is America, that they're going to, greatly advance in AI technology, because China, as we all know by now, they already have, a social credit score system. They already have a very strict and draconian system in place that they are using, to control their people. Okay, the only thing they're missing right now, is the mark. The only thing that they're missing is that implantable device in their citizens. Okay, so best believe, Babylon the Great is feeling that pressure to compete and to, ultimately outdo Moab. okay, concerning, that particular technology. And they must do it because it's biblical prophecy. Okay, they must get to the point where they bring about a mandatory implantable device to control the people. All right, more importantly, again, because it's biblical prophecy. So they will do it. Okay, they will do it. It's going to happen in our lifetime, in a very, very near future. Okay, as it tells us in Isaiah 55 and verse 11, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth, and it shall not return unto me void. Okay, so the things that we talk about through the Spirit and the things that we bring out in the scriptures, they're not going to return unto the Lord void, unaccomplished. Okay, all of these prophecies that we bring out through the Spirit, they're going to be accomplished, they're going to be fulfilled in these last days, in our lifetime. Okay?
Of just recently with these 30 countries that have been infiltrated. This competition is going to continue to mount. And again, I say we need to have the strength and the capacity here in America before all other nations.
And the last question, why isn't the extent of the damage done by this AI hack being made public? The full extent.
Well, Peter, the fact of the hack being made public, I think, is incredibly encouraging. It would never happen had the Chinese used their own models. The fact that we know about the hack, the fact that Anthropic is working on it, the fact they're talking with leaders right now about how to address it, I think that's critically important, and it's a step in the right direction.
Senator Haggerty, thank you so much for being here on the Sunday Briefing. Hope to have you back sometime.
All right, so, there you have it. And we can expect, more news of this nature as the days, the weeks, and the months go by, because we're in that time, okay? And something major is going to happen very soon that's going to change, life as you know it, all right? So with that, Lord willing, this lesson has been edifying. And until next time, I'll say shalom.